respectmyregion.com. Here today on another episode of the Morning Joint Podcast. It is afternoon, so I apologize, but we're on a holiday week, Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day was yesterday. Big respect and thank you to all of the veterans out there, and big respect to all the people that gave up the ultimate sacrifice for the citizens, for America, for the people in the world. We appreciate you guys. Got some military members in my family, so big shout out to you guys. Big shout out to, again, everybody that has had to suffer through those experiences. Memorial Day is usually celebrated with lots of drinking and partying and stuff. And so I hope all of you guys had a great weekend and were safe and came home and got to see your fam. Today we've got a great episode. It is the 97th official episode of the Morning Joint Podcast. We've got some great stories that we're going to go through today. The first one is that the DEA says THCA does not meet the definition of legal hemp. Congress weighs in on the cannabinoid recriminalization in the Farm Bill. The second story is that the Biden drug czar hinted at interstate commerce if marijuana was rescheduled. The third story is that Dank Vapes added 2 new Hashhole flavors to the Dank donut product offering. Those 2 new SKUs are permanent marker flower with GMO rosin and Zoap flower with Papaya bomb rosin. Those are the 3 cannabis stories. We also have some sports updates as well. Boston rounded out and their series. They actually swept. Boston swept the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. It was kind of close, but the reality was that it just seemed closer than it really was, and that's the real reality of that. Tonight, Dallas plays the Minnesota Timberwolves. Predictions, Dallas is going to win again. And then the last story of the day is that 21 Savage reaffirms his loyalty to Drake by bringing him out at the Toronto show. So we're going to go ahead and slide through each of these stories. I hope you guys are ready. Today's episode is brought to you guys by the RMR Legacy Smalls indoor cannabis flower. It is available for sale at retail here in California. It is not available for sale to stores. Our partners are in a drama. They're no longer our partners. Big shout out to the guys over at MJ Pack and their team for once again screwing a bunch of stuff up for our cannabis business. This will be the second time in 2 years where something drastic and major has happened due to how do these guys conduct business. And so for those of you watching, I would just say keep your eyes and ears peeled for anything to do with Mike Boggs, David Greenberg, and the entire MJ Pack organization. Some good people over there. I'll leave it at that. We are entirely screwed due to those individuals and how they conduct business. So an unofficial story / RMR update. You guys can go buy our weed in Washington. You can go buy our weed at a bunch of places in California, but we are not able to sell you it if you are a store currently in California. Now, with that said, we're going back up to the number one story, right? The DEA says THCA does not meet the definition of legal hemp as Congress weighs the cannabinoid recriminalization in the Farm Bill. All right, you guys ready? We're going to dive right in, okay? To meet the federal definition of hemp under the 2018 Farm Bill, a cannabis product must contain less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC. Now, in a new letter clarifying that limit, a top DEA administration official says the threshold includes not only Delta-9 THC itself, but also the related cannabinoid THCA, which is converted into Delta-9 THC when heated, a process known as decarboxylation. Quote unquote. In regards to THCA, Congress has directed that when determining whether a substance constitutes hemp, the Delta-9 THC concentration is to be tested using post-decarboxylation or other similarly reliable methods, says the letter sent earlier this month by Terrence Booz, chief of DEA's Drug and Chemical Evaluation Section. The decarboxylation process converts Delta-9 THCA to Delta-9 THC, Booz continued. Thus, for the purpose of enforcing the hemp definition, the Delta-9 THC level must account for any Delta-9 THCA. Accordingly, cannabis-derived THCA does not meet the definition of hemp under the CSA, he concluded, because upon conversion for identification purposes, as required by Congress, it is equivalent to Delta-9 THC. The position articulated in the May 13th letter comes in response to a request for clarification sent to DEA last month by cannabis attorney Shane Pennington, who declined to comment for this story. According to the DEA letter, Pennington last month requested the control status of tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, cannabinolic acid, THCA, under the Controlled Substances Act. A similar request from Pennington, a lawyer at the firm Porter Wright, was also the impetus for DEA's declaration in 2022 that marijuana seeds are considered legal hemp as long as they don't exceed federal THC limits. DEA's letter on THCA comes as federal lawmakers reconsider how to address hemp and cannabinoids under a revised version of the Farm Bill, with the key House committee having recently adopted an amendment that would generally ban hemp-derived cannabinoids such as Delta-8 THC. DEA is essentially saying in the letter that because THCA so readily converts into Delta-9 THC, it can't be ignored when measuring a product's Delta-9 THC level. That's not at all how the U.S. hemp industry sees it, however. This interpretation would destroy the hemp industry. Jonathan Miller, general counsel for the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, told Marijuana Moment on Friday, most hemp growers, even fiber and grain growers, would be out of compliance. Asked if he thought hemp farmers would object to the idea that a product that tests at 0.2% Delta-9 THC, but also 4.6% THCA, Miller replied, I would imagine nearly every hemp farmer and company would find this interpretation objectionable. Sean Hauser, who co-chairs cannabis-focused law firm Vicente LLP's hemp and cannabinoid practice, said the Farm Bill requires biomass to be tested pre-harvest for total THC, which considers the percentage of THCA in pre-harvest material. Hemp products are required to have a pre-harvest certificate of analysis showing the products are compliant, she said. So, pre-harvest. A plant with high THCA likely exceeds the maximum allowable THC content and wouldn't be lawful. This has been a point of confusion among businesses and state regulators, Hauser said. The situation including ongoing discussions of how to amend the Farm Bill's handling of cannabinoids. Quote, just underscores the imminent need for legalization and regulation of the whole plant, she added. Trying to draw arbitrary lines in the plant and the law without a federal regulatory or enforcement framework doesn't work. DEA's Booz articulated a similar position about THCA in a letter last year, according to a blog post by attorney Rob Kite. Kite wrote at the time that he believed DEA is right that Congress requires a post-decarboxylation test for hemp production, but he argued that once hemp has been deemed to be compliant and allowed to be harvested, the post-decarboxylation test no longer applies. DEA's Drug and Chemical Evaluation Section Chief has been responsible for a number of recent agency opinions on cannabis and other drugs. Notably, in 2022, for example, he penned the DEA letter clarifying that marijuana seeds are considered legal hemp as long as they fall below THCA limits for the federal standards. Booz issued another relevant administrative interpretation last year when he asserted that the DEA considers the intoxicating cannabinoid Delta-8 THC an illicit Schedule I drug if it's synthesized from federally legal CBD. More recently, he opined in a January letter that psilocybin mushroom spores are not on their own federally prohibited. They become illegal only after they begin producing psilocybin, he said. If the mushroom spores, quote, or any other material do not contain psilocybin or psilocin or any other controlled substance or illicit chemical, the material is not considered controlled under the Controlled Substances Act, Booz wrote at the time. Delta-8 THC products have been proliferated on the market since hemp's legalization, essentially existing in an unregulated legal gray area. If the cannabinoid is naturally extracted from hemp, it's federally legal. But it's generally considered common practice to synthesize it from CBD because it's a more cost-effective process. Some states have taken steps to restrict Delta-8 THC, however. Wow. This is huge. The 2018 Farm Bill has wrongly been used to justify the mass production and sale of unregulated intoxicating hemp products. USCC Executive Director Ed Conklin said in a press release following the amendment vote, quote, we support a uniform approach to regulating intoxicating THC products. That means intoxicating hemp products should be regulated the same as cannabis products. We believe that all these products should be available for adults with strict age gating and safety standards. What are your guys' thoughts on this? What are your guys' thoughts on where this is going to go? What are your guys' thoughts on how this is going to play out? I mean, obviously, you guys are on LinkedIn, you're YouTube, you guys are all experts, right? So I just have to assume that you guys know absolutely everything about politics, government, legislation. You guys probably know all these individuals that are speaking and being quoted, from the lawyers to the DEA, all that stuff, right? So what are your thoughts? Where do you see it's going to go? Personally, I don't know anything about any of this stuff outside of what I read, what I know, what I can buy, what I have access to. And I think, to be honest, the proof is really in the pudding. What does that even mean? We will have to see how humans in real life play out, respond, and react to these news, to the new rules, etc. Do I want the hemp industry to change drastically and a bunch of farmers and small businesses to be done and go out of business and fail and all this other stuff? Absolutely not. But the reality is that this industry is changing. The industry is still to be set, formulated, a foundation to be built, federal regulatory things, standards to be put in place. And with that said, we should have all known that this wasn't always going to be cement in place. This wasn't going to be locked in, locked down, or become the foundation. There was always going to be change. And that's kind of how I look at it, right? I come from Washington State. We rewrote our laws in the first year of cannabis to make taxes and stuff change. It's capable of being done. It's just a matter of when, who, what, why, how, and people voting and showing up and making sure that things can actually change. All right, now that's the first story. We're going to switch over to another one. The DEA again says THCA does not meet the definition of legal hemp. Huge. Now, the next story is the Biden drug czar hints at interstate commerce if cannabis is rescheduled, right? Marijuana rescheduling could allow for legitimate interstate commerce within the federal system, the Biden's administration drug czar said in a recent interview. In comments to the Minneapolis Star Tribune, Dr. Gupta, the director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, also hinted at a timeline for when marijuana might officially make the move from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act, right? Major. Process is unclear. Rescheduling is a process that will continue to go on for the remainder of the year, said Gupta, a physician and former top public health officer in West Virginia. Gupta's comments come in the weeks since U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland signed off on an August 23 recommendation by the Department of Health and Human Services that marijuana has medical value and should no longer be designated by the federal government as more dangerous than fentanyl. Currently, the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, is accepting public comments on the proposed shift until July 22nd. You can go read this on mjbizdaily.com. After that, the timeline is not entirely clear. The typical federal rulemaking process requires a public agency to consider comments while issuing a final rule, though there's no clear for the DEA to do that in this instance. Excuse me, no clear deadline for the DEA. I'm sorry, y'all. I lost you guys for a brief second. A little bit of technical difficulties. Crazy, right? So, as I was just saying, the Biden drug czar, Dr. Rahul Gupta, he's saying that September or October, there's a he didn't say that there's a chance, but he definitely alluded to the fact that they're going to wait till the end of the year to talk about the rescheduling. It obviously opens up a lot of opportunity for commercialization and interstate commerce and all those kinds of things, right? You've got to think there are Schedule 3 federal Schedule 3 narcotics. There are federal Schedule 3 drugs, right? And that are allowed to do interstate commerce today. So we will definitely see some growth and some progress in that regard. Sometime September, October, we'll see, would be great. Obviously, there's a lot to consider and to go about with all these changes, right? So the last cannabis story of the day. Are you guys ready? Dank Vapes. Dank Vapes dropped 2 new Hashhole strains. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys. Dropping stuff. You guys ready? Dank Vapes, Dank Donuts, Hashholes. 20 per case, $15 a unit. Wholesale prices, retailers that are watching, wholesale prices, California. Look at this. Let's open it up. My personal favorite one, the Tractor Fuel Dank OG. Tractor Fuel flower, that's OG. OG Kush rosin. Very rare to see rosin. That is OG. You guys can see nice, beautiful, reflective packaging. Get up close for you guys. OG on OG. 1.5 gram indoor flower, 0.5 gram rosin. You guys can see right here. But the two new strains, what are the 2 new ones, right? The 2 new ones are Zoap and Papaya Bomb and Permanent Marker and GMO. Man, that Zoap tastes like sweet, soapy, sour weed. You get it in your mouth, you taste that rosin. It is absolutely phenomenal. I'll show it to you guys again. Look at these dank donuts, man. These are 2 gram Hashholes for $15 here in California. Yes, I sell them. Yes, it's compliant. Yes, it's available for sale at dispensaries. Your boy just landed Patient Care First in Modesto, and there are 8 stores. We also just picked up 5 other locations on top of that in the last 37 days. We're making moves. You guys need to get on these dank donuts, man. These Hashholes, this Permanent Marker, this GMO, that shit will have you sucking wind, let me tell you. All right. I showed you guys the OG on OG. But what do you guys think about the lemon cherry gelato on the papaya, right? Lemon cherry gelato flower, papaya rosin. Straight up makes your mouth feel numb, taste like candy, body high, feels fantastic. Check this out, you guys. Again, 20 in a case. We created Dank Donuts to quicken the process of smoking Hashhole joints, even for the most experienced roller. Grab a few friends, sit back, and enjoy one of the best joints in the world. These are the Dank Donuts, 2 gram Hashholes. You guys can reach out to me if you're a California retailer. I would be happy to sample you out, get you guys some. I've got an open one here. I was originally going to smoke it on this episode, but then I decided I'm going to roll a joint of my own stuff and just save that one for later. So big shout out to Dank. Big congratulations. We are making moves. There's a lot of good energy and a lot of good momentum going on right there. Do not sleep on the Dank Donuts 2 gram Hashholes. All right, you guys, we're going to move over to 2 sports stories. Nothing too crazy. It's just the NBA playoffs. You guys know I'm a basketball fan. You know I'm from Seattle. We rep the Sonics where I come from. But since we don't have the Sonics, and I sure as hell ain't getting behind OKC since they took our team. But either way, OKC's not even around right now. We just witnessed the Boston Celtics sweep the Indiana Pacers 4-0. It was close. But it was really never that close. And when I say it was close, there was a couple individual games where there was definitely opportunity for the Pacers to have a chance to win, to do their thing. But the reality is that they got their ass spanked and they got sent home. Big shout out to Tyler Halliburton. Big shout out to all the Pacers, man. It was great to watch you guys. But y'all ain't cut. Y'all do not have enough offensive scorers, not consistent enough. And now we're watching the Boston Celtics go to the NBA Finals. They've been dominating this whole playoffs. Dominating. Now, the reality is, though, is who are they going to play? Who's going to be in the finals, right? We got to let the West finish up. We got the Western Conference Finals, Dallas Mavericks versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Right now, Dallas is up. And seemingly, it doesn't look good for Minnesota, man. It looks like Anthony Edwards is tired. It looks like Rudy Gobert. It looks like he's definitely the defensive player of the year, right? He's going to get his blocks. He's going to play D on the hardest guys. He's going to challenge every player at the rim. But I'll tell you what, he looks tired. They all look tired. You got Karl Anthony Townsend jacking up three-pointers. They're not even close. I think he was 0 for 8 the last game. The reality is they got to move the ball better so that way there's less wasted movement. But the reality, too, is they're tired, man. We're at the end of the playoffs. We're deep into the end of the playoffs. And right now, Minnesota's looking tired. My predictions, Dallas is going to take it today. We're going to see Boston versus the Mavericks here in a couple days, later this week or this next week. And we're going to be in the finals. NBA Finals, 2024, Boston Celtics, Dallas Mavericks. That's my prediction. Do I think that Boston's going to win? I do. I think Massachusetts is going to bring home a ship this year. I think Dallas is going to have a good run, but ultimately, I don't know, man. Boston just has so many weapons, and especially if Kristaps Porzingis comes back, it's not looking good. It's definitely not looking good. I'm going to go ahead and pick Boston over Dallas, but I'll also go so far as to say that if Dallas gives them a run and they take it, I'm not going to be mad. I really don't care who wins. But I do believe Boston's going to pull it out. But I'd like to see Dallas take into 6 or 7 games just for the sake of good basketball. Let me know what you guys think. Share your predictions in the comments. Talk that shit. All right, the 6th and final story today. You guys, 21 Savage is standing on his relationship with Drake. He reaffirms his loyalty to Drake by bringing him out at his Toronto show recently. And I'm for it, man. At the end of the day, as a fan, do I really care about the Drake versus Kendrick beef, or do I just want good music? When I think about that, I don't really care about it. I just want good music. If this beef is going to lead to more music, great. But ultimately, I just want more music, right? I want more music from 21 Savage, more music from Drake, more music from Kendrick. We just want to, as a fan, we just want more. The streaming, all that, obviously I talked about it before, that's all going in Kendrick's favor for this particular segment of the conversation, right? The beef, streams go to Kendrick. When you think about Drake's music overall, the numbers behind it, it's really not even close. Google it yourself, look up the streaming numbers. I'm not going to dive into all that again. The reality is, though, is if you are a Drake fan, be a Drake fan. If you want to be a Kendrick fan, be a Kendrick fan. If you want to be both, like me, it's also okay too. Listen to the song, enjoy the lyrics, spend your money on merch, support them at the tours and the concerts, and just, it's okay to be a fan. And so there's a lot of divisiveness out there. They want you to pick and choose who, what, why. Oh, you're this, you get judged. You know what? We're not out here to get judged by anybody else. We're out here to enjoy the things that make us happy. And if you enjoy that music, I support that. You guys, this was another episode of the Morning Joint Podcast. I'm your host, Joey J. Ping. I gave you guys 6 stories that caught my eye today. The number one story is that the DEA is saying that THCA does not meet the definition of legal hemp. There's some major changes going on. So stay tuned. I'll give you guys more updates. We'll have some commentary on all that over the coming days and weeks as that continues to change. But for now, I appreciate you guys for watching, liking, subscribing, talking shit, doing whatever it is y'all do. But don't forget, no matter what, we're going to be back next week or the following. We got more content, more updates. And we'll see you guys next time. All right. Big love from your boy. Come back down the road next time.